My youth may be over, but my task is not.
Hello again, and welcome back to Storm Talk. Today we will be talking about Medivh, the last Guardian. Although he's not the last Guardian. But anyway, you can take a moment to read his description, and we'll look at his character. His staff has gotten cut off a bit.
Hesitation is the bane of destiny.
His staff has gotten cut off a bit, which kind of sucks because you can kind of see some detail in the feet alone, which obviously means there's tons of details that would be great to see on a 3D model in or on the hawk or crow. No, it's a crow. Ugh. Why did you call it a hawk? I now look kind of dumb. Okay.
Do not tarry. Make your choice, and make it well.
Outside of that, I mean, the feather lining on his robe is nice and tattered. He's got the metal boots, or the metal, guards on his boots to kind of show he's getting ready for combat. All in all, I'm kind of happy with this model.
Hesitation is the bane of destiny.
It does look a little bit like they allowed some of the Medivh from the Warcraft movie to influence, and kind of a mix of the movie Medivh with the Warcraft 3 version of Medivh. But I mean, I'm happy with this model. It's a cool model. Anyway, let's go ahead and move in. His trait is Raven Form. Instead of mounting,
do not tarry. Make your
Medivh
choice,
transforms into a raven.
and make it well.
This only gives him 15% movement speed 15% movement speed buff. However, he can fly over terrain and is immune to all damage and effects. His abilities are Arcane Rift. Launch a rift that deals 182 magic damage to enemies in its path. If an enemy hero is hit, reduce the cooldown by 5 seconds and refund 30% or 30 mana, so half of it. This costs 60 mana, has a 7-second cooldown, or if you hit a hero, costs 30 mana, has a 2-second cooldown. And actually could basically be a free cooldown because we'll get into that as we play. Force of Will. 50 mana with a 5-second cooldown.
Do not
protects
tarry.
an ally hero from
Make
all
your
damage for 1.5
choice,
seconds.
and make it well.
A nice defensive ability. Basically, this right here makes him a support. Like it says up here that he's a ranged specialist. This ability right here makes him a support. This ability right here gives him some harass, but isn't really an assault ability. His final ability, Portal. 75 mana with a 20-second cooldown.
Is the bane of destiny.
You create a set of portals between you and a target location, allowing allies to teleport between both. The portal lasts for 6 seconds. This ability is still a very supporty ability. It looks bad. I like to use this ability as a ward.
Do not tarry. Make your choice, and make it well.
It is really great, especially when you have a Dahaka on your team. You put a portal in the bush just to check the bush, and a portal somewhere else, and your Dahaka just kind of digs into that bush and then jumps from the portal into the middle of a lane. Great jump. That right there can kill most people.
Hesitation is the bane of destiny.
But we'll get into a little bit more of that as we get in. His heroic abilities. The first one, Polybomb. Costs 75 mana, has a 40-second cooldown. Polymorph an enemy hero, suppressing their attacks and silencing them for 2 seconds. On expiration, Polybomb spreads to other enemy heroes. This is pretty good. It is really fun.
Do not tarry. Make your choice, and make it well.
His other ability is Leyline Seal. Costs 75 mana and has an 80-second cooldown. After 0.5 seconds, unleash a wave of energy that imprisons enemy heroes in stasis for 3 seconds. So, let's go ahead and take a look at his models. So this is the last Guardian skin.
Hesitation is the
Red
bane
variant.
of destiny.
And green variant. Master skin. White variant. And black variant. And his knight skin. Orange variant. And green variant, although they probably should have just colored it purple. Like, it should have been purple variant.
And make it well.
So we're gonna try this one.
The wisdom you seek is mine to share.
Normally he looks like a raven. He looks a little bit like a Dragonhawk raven now, due to the skin. And as you can see, as a bird, he flies straight over terrain, gates, or destructible terrain and real terrain. And he is not targeted by buildings. However, the second he goes human form, he is targeted. That was his portal ability. I'll show you that in a second. He is able to drink and cast each of his spells while in Raven form. Well, I guess he can cast Force of Will, just not on himself. However, casting during Raven form does break Raven. Anyway, so let's start off with Arcane Rift. Simple shot. Does a lot at level 1, 189 damage. Just boom, shoot. Simple, elegant, does its job. Force of Will, 1.5 seconds as advertised, and you take no damage.
Waits for none of us.
It even gives a nice little description of how much damage it blocked. Portal.
A great shadow looms.
At level, or the basic default portal, you'll see there's a little tiny one that this is as close as you can cast it, and a bigger one that this is as far as you can cast it.
Onward.
And fun little thing. Whenever you have multiples, all portals will take you back to the last one. You'll never have multiples, because toggle cooldowns changes it to like a half of the second cooldown, but it's still kind of a fun fact, right? Anyway, and as I was saying, with Arcane Rift, let's turn off toggle cooldowns. If you hit an enemy hero, if you hit them at just the tip of it, I don't think the tip by default, but the tip after it's been expanded, it will actually be like the entire, the entire time of the cooldown.
For the sake of our future.
Okay. So, since Medivh is pretty basic, sorry about that. Since Medivh is pretty basic, he only has one attack, and his other two abilities are interesting but kind of hard to demonstrate in try mode.
At stake.
Let's go ahead and kind of demonstrate some combat potential. Now, unlike a lot of supports, you can't actually target minions with your shield. And like I was saying, I like to use the portal a little bit as a ward.
I see visions.
And if I had a little bit more combat potential at the moment, as you can see, I don't really do a ton of damage. Like, it's a nice poke, but it's not consistent damage. But if I had, like, if Arth is that low, kind of teleport in real quick, kill him, and jump out, keeping your force of will up to try to keep yourself from getting any big hit on you. Let's go ahead and turn that off. And while we're still at level 1, stats. At level 1, Medivh has 1,529 hit points with 3.18 regeneration, 500 mana with a 3.0 regeneration. His attack range is 5.5. His attack damage is 68. He attacks once per second, and has no default light steal.
Choose a talent.
At level 10, you have 2,177 hit points with a 4.5 regeneration, 590 mana with 3.88 regeneration, and you now do 96 damage. Now,
Choose a talent.
at level 20, you have 3,223 hit points with a 6.65 regeneration, 690 mana with a 4.86 regeneration, and 143 damage on auto attacks. And finally, at level 30,
Choose a talent.
you have 4,773 hit points with a 9.84 regeneration, 790 mana with a 5.83 regeneration, and you deal 211 damage. Now, before we start building into talents, one thing that's always important to remember, because Medivh is capable of flying into enemy bases, so much so that he's actually even capable of flying into enemy fountains. If you're ever playing Medivh, never be afraid to just kind of be like, oh, you know what? I think I'm going to do a little scouting. Now, if you're in the middle of a push or in the middle of a team fight, don't be a dick. But if you're kind of sitting off on your wave and they're sitting off on their wave, kind of be like, okay, I'm going to go a little to scouting. Or in, like, say, one of the token maps, just kind of sit above it. Like, you can't take on 2 or 3 people by yourself. We've demonstrated, like, even at level 30, he only does 600 damage on his main attack. Which, I mean, is nice. Let's get people out here. Go ahead and demonstrate. Like, it's nice. You can do a nice little hit on somebody. But you're not killing a team. You're probably not even taking somebody out in a 1v1 for the most part. So, don't be afraid to just kind of sit there and wait. Just be a ward. So, as far as talents go, the first build, we're going to focus on his Q. And then the next, or the build after that, we'll have a little fun. Let's just say that. So, if you need to be aggressive, his Q is your only form of aggression. So, at level 1, you could take your Q. Mana Adept. Increases Arcane Rift's mana refund for hitting enemies by 100%. Basically changes it from 30 to 60. So it's a full refund and a 20%, or a 5-second cooldown refund. Stable Portal increases portal's duration by 50%. That changes it from 6 to 9 seconds. Portal Mastery. Medivh can manually place both portals' locations. Or Raven's Intellect. Raven form increases Medivh's mana regeneration by 100%. Remember, he has standard mana regeneration, so 6 per second at level 30, and like 3 per second at level 1. I personally prefer Raven's Intellect. It's a little more versatile. It can be used with all 4 of his abilities, and you're in Raven form a lot. It's a lot like the, or it's kind of like the Wolf form trait for Rhaegar. Like, because a lot of times, like, when minions are just kind of clashing, and you've got a teammate, and they've got a person, you're just kind of sitting there, like, okay, when can I be needed? When can I be good? So in those cases, actually, if I turn that on, that shouldn't have him do anything. Yeah, that just locks him to the minions. So in those cases, Mana Adapt is not all that good. I prefer Raven Intellect, but for Q, Mana Adapt. So next we have Mage Armor. Allies gain an armor blocking when they enter your portal for the first time. It reduces from the next 3 basic hero attacks by 50 damage. Or at 50% damage. Man, did I just screw up that sentence? I'm off today. Okay, it lasts for 5 seconds. So, if you're using this to kind of run away, it's a nice little bubble ability. But other than that, not particularly my choice. Next, we have Bird's Eye View. Permanently increases Raven Form's vision range by 25%. You can also activate to increase this bonus by 200% for 5 seconds. Basically, makes your makes your vision a little bit bigger, and can be activated to make it much bigger. This has a 30-second cooldown. We also have Dust of Appearance. Has a 45-second cooldown, and you reveal enemy heroes in an area surrounding Medivh for 10 seconds. This does not cancel Raven form. So basically, what it comes down to is, do you want to see invisible people, or do you just want to be able to see shit? A 45-second reveals invisible heroes isn't good, in my opinion. It's not bad, but it isn't good. Bird's Eye View makes you a better ward, it makes you better while flying, and it's a easier cooldown, and it shows you like people who aren't invisible. So unless you're like up against a team of people who can cloak, it's not that. Like, Dust Appearance is great if you have like a Nova and a Zeratul, and let's see, is there anybody else that can go invisible right now? Dahaka. Dahaka can kind of be invisible. But other than that, Bird's Eye View. Probably my #1 choice. Even going an aggressive build, because Bird's Eye View, take it, as you can see, it increases range. Just kind of press that and see like the entire area. Okay. At level 7, Arcane Charge. When Arcane Rift does damage to an enemy hero, the next Arcane Rift does 25% more damage. So basically, click, 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 you keep hitting, you keep doing compound damage. The Master's Touch. Hit 35 enemy heroes with Arcane Rift without dying. Reward, it permanently increases damage dealt by 100, and the cooldown reduction from hitting heroes by 1 second. Thing is, at level 30, when you're already doing 600, that jumps it up to 700 damage and 6-second cooldown. It's nice, but for what it does, I'm not convinced myself that the quest is worth it. If it'd been 150 damage, I'd probably say yes, but 25%. Like just kind of doing rough math, 25% of 500 is 120. So this is literally hit somebody, do 120 extra damage, or hit 35 people without dying in a very tricky step back and step forward quest, and then we'll give you 20% bonus forever. Yeah. Like, you're only really needing that damage when you're, like, tagging heroes multiple times. So it kind of gets a little weird. Next, we have Arcane Explosion. The first time Force of Will absorbs damage, it deals 600 damage, or 594 damage to nearby enemies. And Raven Familiar. A Raven Familiar joins allies that use the portal. The Raven will dive at the ally's next basic attack target for 370 damage. I'm going to take Arcane Charge just to kind of show it off a little bit, because we don't have the time for Master's Touch.
I will use this well.
Polybomb, 75 mana with 40-second cooldown. Polymorph an enemy hero, suppress their attack, silence it for 2 seconds. On explosion, Polybomb spreads to other nearby enemy heroes. We can't really demonstrate the explosions or the spreading so much. But there's a circle there, and it spreads. So just to kind of demonstrate what we're sitting at right now ourselves. I missed. So, even with his extended health, you can see the
My magic is
growth
not to be trifled with.
of damage potential just from that 25%, ticking it every 2 seconds or so. So, continuing on, at level 13, Quickening, reduce Portal's cooldown by 50%. That changes it from 20 to 10. Astral Projection, increase the portal's cast range by 50%. And Wings of Cerility. I'm not going to try that word again. Increase Ravenform's movement speed by 100%. Note that is only the 15% changes it to 30. I still like this talent, but when I first time I read it, it's like 200% movement speed. Oh, that'd be great. Because for some reason I thought it said 100%. So I'm like, oh yeah, go bird form, just fly real fast. Because you're not really a high-hitting character, so having an ability like that wouldn't probably be that game-breaking. But 130% is still pretty nice. It's almost mount speed. Sorry about that. A little bit of allergies kicked up. As I was saying, or where was I? The movement speed is nice. It does put you to a point where you can actually move with your team. Your ability to fly over walls does kind of give you an advantage, like if you're if you're trying to get to a different shrine, or if you're trying to get to a like Raven's token or something of that extent. But if you're doing something like trying to get to the other side of a map because you're just rushing from one side to another to just kind of face the enemy nexus or something, you just can't keep up, and the fact that you can't catch up is detrimental.
Things right.
I don't like astral projection. It has its uses. It definitely does. But quickening, it drops your 20-second cooldown to a 10-second cooldown. putting it more in line with your other spells, and making it much more valuable. I'd rather, like, it's kind of one of those, well, would you rather hit twice as hard or attack twice as fast? Well, you can either throw out your portal twice as fast, or put them out half as far, like an additional 50% as far. And if you max range this, over the 20 seconds it takes or like in 10 seconds or so, you can max range Astral Portal here, 10 seconds. Oh, it's 50% farther. Versus Quickening, after 10 seconds, you've done 2 full-length Astral Portals. That's 200%. If you're running, the Quickening is much better. If you're trying to save somebody's ass, Astral Projection has points, but yeah. I'm gonna take the Quickening. So yeah, as I was saying, like a 10-second cooldown, and they last for 6 seconds. Much more valuable, because like you kind of take the portal and then juke somebody, and then it's like, oh, what? Just a couple of seconds after the portal, so you run around, try to get that portal at the end.
Destiny awaits.
Let's try that again. You throw out the portal, you're like, no, don't get me, and jump over a wall or something. And you just jump over another wall real quick and simple, like. Much more valuable. That way, you could actually possibly even get into Raven form. Because you see the cast time for Raven form, same as cast time for Mounting. It's longer than Force of Will, so you can't just Force of Will yourself and then Raven. However, portal jump into Raven might work. At level 16, all of these abilities go to your Force of Will. So you have Circle of Protection. An untalented Force of Will is also applied to allies near the target. This basically makes your Force of Will a bomb. If you have not taken any other Force of Wills, I think this is the better one. Basically, your entire team gets a 1.5 second shield. Enduring Will. Increase the duration of Force of Will by 33 seconds. Sorry, 33%. 33 seconds, that'd be overpowered as fuck. By 33%, which is, let's see, puts it up to 2 seconds. Not bad, but the amount of damage you can block in 1.5 seconds versus 2 seconds, like, it could extend the time for, like, an ult hit or something, but if you're needing that, you probably shouldn't be playing. Like, no offense, you probably shouldn't be playing a character who has that you don't take damage ability if you can't, oh shit, perfect moment. And then Reabsorb is also a pretty good one. If you've taken any other Force of Wills, I'd actually suggest this. Upon expiration, Force of Will heals target for 50% of the damage absorbed. So, since we don't have any other Force of Wills, Circle of Protection.
There is much at stake.
Whoops, wrong one. It should. Try to. There we go. It is a small one, but it is nice. Now, finally,
Fate waits for none of us.
Glyph of Polybomb. Polybomb explodes 1 second sooner, and spread radius is increased by 25%. So, throw in minions real quick.
A great shadow looms.
You notice it's about 2 seconds before it pops. 1, 2, okay, 3 seconds, sorry. I just counted fast, that's 2 seconds. And then it pops and spreads it. 1 second. Next, let's turn that off. We have Guardian of Tirisfal. Minions and catapults hit by Arcane Rift are instantly killed. Obviously, if you're building an Arcane Rift build, you go here. If your enemy has proven themselves to be able to get out of the Glyph Bomb, you take Guardian. It's just what you do. Other abilities are Arcane Brilliance. Activate to instantly restore 200 mana and to all nearby allies, and grant 10% ability power for 10 seconds. I hate to say it, that's pretty much worthless. Like, ability power on Medivh, even with this build, is pretty much worthless. And invisibility. Stealth an allied hero for 20 seconds. A nice little ability. It has a couple of charges, but I don't know. I just kind of feel like this is a little underpowered. But let's go on. I'm gonna take Guardian.
Of course.
So as you can see, it takes out everything. Now against bots, it's a little bit weird because it does, or once the enemy minions are gone, he becomes a lot less aggressive.
A great shadow.
But since you're no longer worried about the damage when it comes to getting minions, like throwing out a cheapie after a minion wave isn't really a big deal. We'll just sheep him real quick just to get that kill.
I did what had to be done.
So, I'm going to go ahead and reset the talents now.
Choose a talent.
Next, we will build slightly more supporting. So,
For the sake
I'm going to take
of our
place both
future.
portals.
Yes, things become clearer.
Since we're being a support, the bird's eye would actually probably be better, but we're going to take mage armor. Just to kind of fuck with it a little bit. Since we're being a support, either Raven Familiar or Arcane Explosion will work. I'm going to go with Arcane Explosion. Ley Line, 75 mana with an 80-second cooldown. After 0.5 seconds, unleash a wave of energy that imprisons an enemy hero for 3 seconds.
My destiny awaits.
So to show this down here, you see it's a really long line. Has a little bit of a cast time, and then freeze. At 13. Again, Quickening, I think, is the better choice here.
I will use this well.
16. Reabsorption. Because you're a healer. Like, you're going for support, you need to be a healer. And then at level 20, I would actually probably say Invisibility, but we're going to do Medivh Cheats, because it's a little bit fun and I get to show it. Or I can try to show this off a little bit. One of the great things about Medivh Cheats is
looms.
the range of Ley Line. Because you can recast it, you can actually recast it at its end to extend the range. So, you have its default range, and then you can literally change its direction at basically any time. So, the way this works right now,
There is much at stake.
you don't have a lot of damage. But we do have the ability to place portals wherever we want. So, if we're helping out an ally, we can actually set portals up somewhere else. So, if, for example, you had a Haka or something, perfect location for a gank right there, or close enough to it. And remember, since we've taken the cooldown,
I see.
now Force of Will has a really short cooldown for what it does. So don't be afraid to kind of just step in there and get hit a couple of times. Especially when you have the heal.
The winds of change are howling.
But as you can see, this is a much more supportish build.
I will set things right.
So you're not exactly expecting to just straight up kill somebody. However, one nice little fact. Since you can now,
I see
or with
visions and nightmares.
Portal Mastery, you can place both portals. You can actually place the first portal anywhere within your thing, as close to you or as far away from you. And then you can place the second portal as far as you want. Or like within range of it. Which kind of bypasses the entire point for astral projection. Okay, so we're going to reset these one more time.
Choose a talent.
Fate.
This
waits
time,
for none of
this
us.
is how I've been building the few times I've gotten a chance to play. Raven's Intellect for the mana. Bird's Eye, obviously, for the vision.
Even now, my power grows.
I've been going with the Raven Familiar because Raven Familiar it's nice. A nice little, like, 400 punch to the face every couple of seconds. I've been going
I will
Polybomb.
use this well.
Winds of Sterility. I've been going for Circle of Protection. Although, of course, Reabsorption is just as viable. I would stay away from Enduring Will, however. And at level 20, I've been kind of stuck between Glyph Bomb and Guardian. If the team keeps getting stuck in Glyph Bomb, if their entire team is melee, and you can get one good Glyph Bomb off on them, they're done. You hit one of their like key members, like a tank or something, and then it spreads to a couple of their DPS. They start trying to split off, and it just keeps bouncing back and forth. You win. You just like you can get two people with the second bounce, and then just one person with either of their bounce. You won the fight because you've taken 4 people out of the fight for 3 seconds. Even if 2 of them were the same people. Guardian, however, if you're losing especially, when you're just sitting at Nexus and you're the guy who's sitting at Nexus going, boom, take out minions, boom, take out minions, boom, take out minions. This is a great ability. Like, literally one-shots entire minion waves. I am going to take Invisibility just to kind of show it off, however, because I haven't shown it yet, and it is a nice little ability. As you can see, 2 charges.
Of course.
Oh, sorry, wrong button. And you just hit yourself with it. You're invisible for 10 seconds. Or, no, 20 seconds. That's a 10-second cooldown. You walk up. Now, of course, the moment you hit anything, it kind of comes off, but... But, like, you're getting ready for a fight or something, boom. You're running away from someone. Toggle off cooldown so I can just kind of... You're running away from something, boom. You can avoid taking damage for a couple of, like, just go boom, boom. Like, hit Alt so you auto-target yourself and Force of Will into Invisibility. Invisibility finished casting before Force of Will's done. You're invisible. You can do just about whatever you want.
Shadow.
If you take the portal out and then go invisible, Also doing pretty good. That could give you enough time to go Raven form and then be immune to damage and get away. We'll toggle minions a little bit. Now with this build, the same problem with this last build is still kind of there. You don't have a lot of power. This build is kind of more of a, oh shit, I didn't mean to hurt. This build's less of a power build and more of a, you know what, fuck you, I have a presence build. Especially with the invisibility, it does give you that ability to kind of just walk around a little bit and harass people. And you just kind of go into Raven form, get back a bit of mana. And he's dead. And then I just kind of go invisible, walk away a little bit, and we're done. So, all in all, my theory for Medivh is play him like a support. He is a very supporting specialist. He's kind of like an Avatar a little bit. You have that, boom, hit you in the face. You have a nice little shield that could very well save someone's life. His portal is a nice little tool. Really great for getting in and out of trouble. But don't forget that people can see it. Depending on how you cast it and where you cast it, like, people can see where it's going. So you can be followed. But it can get you that nice little jump away far enough that you might be able to avoid some trouble. And it might just give you that second you need to Raven form. Polybomb is devastating.
Right.
If you can hit a couple of people with Polybomb, man. Especially if you can have, like, if you get a Kel'Thas and you get that Polybomb plus infinite spreading for his living bomb, like boom, 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 boom. Yeah. That's some scary stuff right there. It's like, oh yeah, sheep, you're sheep, you're sheep, you're sheep. Oh, by the way, also explosion, 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 explosion. So,
Onward.
before we end this, do the normal. Oh, guess he doesn't have a dance as right before. Thought he did. Sad. I hope you had fun. I hope this was informative, and throw out some of your ideas on how you think Medivh would work well. Combos, or like other heroes he'd combo well with, or heroes he would counter with some of his abilities. Have a wonderful day, and bye.